friends, welcome to this second video of the Totaljs UI. In the previous video, what we did was a simple hello message, which is a test to confirm that our UI library is properly loaded in our HTML document. In this video, I am going step by step to explain you some of the fundamentals of the Totaljs UI library, what you need to know, understand it. I think that the most important is not to simply get to the documentation or in the library repository and copy paste some components, which is interesting, but if you can understand the fundamentals of everything, you can be able to do more with the Totaljs UI. And that is why I am making this series of videos, taking my time to introduce and explain fundamental things of this Totaljs UI library. Yes, I am still learning too. If you know more, if I misunderstand things in this video, feel free to make the comments below. Okay, in this video, we are diving deep with the concepts. The first thing I would like to introduce, first thing I wish I could know about the Totaljs UI is to understand the fundamentals behind paths. I know it won't be enough to cover everything in this video, but what I will be showing you here will be necessary to understand and build anything you want with the Totaljs UI. Let's get started. If we get back to the documentation, last time we went through the steps of installing and it was in welcome. This time I want to jump into what I think is the most fundamental thing of the UI, which is paths. Totaljs UI is working with data and functions. When you want to build a very dynamic UI interface, you need to know where your data is and be able to watch changes about this data. And to be able to watch the data changes and everything, you need some paths, okay? Paths are just some representational address of data. If I have hello world here displayed here, the data type is string and that data has an address which can be a path. It is very simple to understand. Let me get back to this snippet code so that you can understand what can be called a path. This is a path. The variable I declared here is called msj, which stores the string hello world, and the path to that hello world is the name of the variable. So we can consider here that msj, which that I put here, is the path to that data, and then I try to put some comment here and display the message. What type of data or of paths do we have? We have some explicitly declared paths like that, but also we can have some implicitly declared paths. We have also some other types of paths which we call scoped paths, not forgetting also the temporary paths. And then you can use the address, access certain data and display it, or use the address, the path, to track the changes of any data within the scope of the JavaScript. And this is what I think is the most fundamental thing, because whatever you will take here, if I go through these steps, if you take UI components, you will see that not only we declare its name, but we need a path. If I go to plugins, okay, and how does it work? Okay, you will see that the plugin will have a name but also a path. Okay, if you go to declaration of the plugin, okay, you will see also there is a path that is required here. Okay, and if you go to plugin declaration, you will see there is a path again. If you go to UI bind, you notice you have this tag here, you have the config, and once again you have the path, and you also have UI import. Interesting. May not have the path as an attribute, but you also need a path to represent some kind of config attributes here. Alright, and if you go through the steps, through the elements of the Totaljs UI library, you will see that paths are everywhere, and that is why I am making this video, to make sure that we understand the role of paths in the library. Okay, let's get back to paths and see what is explained here. They show us simple paths like that, like users dot forms form etc. This is a simple way to represent an address to a data. And then we have some scoped paths. Scoped path here is specific to the Totaljs UI library. This is just a convention. It is not part of the JavaScript syntax, as you can see. When you say question mark dot name like that, the question mark is going to represent the scope. Like here, as you can see, let's go and test it. If we use UI plugin, which is not explained yet, but you will easily understand it. If I copy this UI plugin, paste it here, and here we have a message. I can copy object like that and come and paste this here. I didn't want to replace a script tag, that is why I copied to paste it inside here. As you can see, this UI plugin, the path is object. Okay, it is a reference to that variable, but that variable is storing an object. Okay, and then you have one element here inside that path as a question mark, which is what we see here is copied path. It is just here to indicate that there is a parent element, which is the path here. So if we refresh here, we should see two hello world messages. Let me simply change it to hello total.js, and then we may need something like that, like time new date. But what if we want to display that time here? We can simply duplicate this one and use the scope, which is question mark dot time. Okay, and display it as a string. Let me put something like a br here, and you should see that we are able to display to show where the time actually is with a scoped path. Temporary paths. I think that we are not using it. This is for special cases, but it is very interesting, important to know about it. Like if I copy this and I paste this here, we get back as it is. Okay, and simply we are trying to delete it. As you can see, it is changing, but that kind of scoping is a special scope to the this temporary object, which is built in whenever you download this library and you import it via the CDN already have GCTMP. Now when you have some paths like that, maybe you need to change the data within the paths and get the data within the paths. How you can deal with that, I'm going to show you how it works later in this video, but for now let me cover something very important: implicitly or explicitly declared paths. I'm going to delete everything here and we should start from zero here. Let's get back to the documentation. Okay, and I take this first example again. What we had here was this a UI bind, that there is a path here. If I get here nothing, there is nothing displayed for now until I make some var path, which is going to be, oh no, it is not path, because it should be the same. My path is going to be a value like that, and as you can see, we have the value displayed immediately. But what kind of path is this? It is an explicitly or implicitly. Explicit because we had to display to use var or const to create that path here, and we can use the path anywhere. We can also work with some paths that are not explicit but implicit. What I'm talking about is when you make a div like that with an ID, which is my ID like this. Okay, whenever you do that, the ID is implicitly a path, and the Totaljs UI library can work with that kind of paths on also. That is why I'm talking about implicit declared paths. What I mean is I can also bind that ID here directly in the UI bind. Okay, let me duplicate. Okay, let me duplicate here and take this and directly bind here. And what we can see is we have an HTML object here. Wow, what does it mean exactly? Yes, for now, I'm not going deep in the UI bind stuff like that because there is a special video talking about data binding. And when that video will come, I will explain everything. As you can see, I didn't explicitly declare this variable, but it is existing to prove you that I can expect it. And in the console, can simply console.log of my path. If I hit enter, you see we have the value. But what if I do console.log of my ID? As you can guess, it is going to be the HTML element. Okay, that's what I wanted to let you know, because most of the time you can take the already existing application and already existing source code of Totaljs apps, like the the UI builder, the flow interface, and you see some paths that you don't know where it is declared. That is why I wanted to cover it, because these things are things I wish someone could teach me for me to save lots of time in understanding the library. If I go to globals and scroll down, I will see get here, and get is working with paths. Like I can use get here to access certain paths. Okay, let me copy this as it is here. This is a path, right? I can use get and get the value of that path simply like that and make a console log. If I get back to the console log here, as you can see, we have this. And also I can make my ID to see what is going to happen. Bam, we have this, because the get is the method, official method. Not only that, of course, we have lots of other things and for special cases, but get can get the value of something at a certain path. Let's suppose that I have something like an object which is storing a message. This message is going to be hello world, hello total.js community, and here I can have something like time. Okay, yes, time again, which is going to be 2100. Okay, something like that. And I can also use this kind of get and use the nested way of expressing paths. Okay, this is, I can say object dot message to simply get the message. Okay, as you can see, hello total.js community, or I simply use object dot that time to display the time. And also, if I had a scope somewhere, I could also use it like that. But since we are not in a plugin, it's not going to work. As you can see, it is undefined. Okay, so get is the method, the function we can use to get the values in our HTML scope. And as you can guess, if we have get, we can also have set for setting a value to our path. It can be something like that. What if I can extend that object, okay, ahead here, and use set? Okay, I can, and maybe I can put it like it here, like age. Object.age is going to be 30, and here I can try to display the age from that object. As you can see, it works. You can use set to set some values to some nested or scoped paths. And last thing I want to show you is how to watch the change at any path. Okay, you can also get to globals, because everything is global here, and pick the watch method like that. Here what I did was simply make a console log of the path. What I can do is simply make a watch, so that anytime there is a change at that place, like object dot age, if there is some change there, I can put an handler, which is a function, callback function. That callback function can take a path and a value. Okay, the new value we have, and now I can make the console.log of the value. I can make it something like a variable, which is I is going to be 50, and make a set interval like that, which is going to set, or maybe have a second, and here I can put something like that, and I'm going to use set, and also the path, which is going to be object total.age, and I'm going to assign I. Simply like that. And anytime I assign something there, what we notice is that there will be a console log. Let me inspect to see if it is the case. Yes, this is how we can simply watch some changes at a certain path. Okay, that's how useful the paths are, because they are the references, the addresses to where the data are. For getting, setting, or watching data, we need some paths. That's what I wanted to cover in this video. Maybe you may ask me a question, why we need set to change the data like that? If we have an explicit declaration, like here we have I, let's say if we simply increment the I like that, it is not enough for watch to know that I has changed it. Or maybe if I say object.age is going to be I, this is not enough. It is not telling our watch that it has changed. So this is the benefit of using set and get. If you use set now dot age I, now it works like sharp. Set is not only assign the object, but also is going to publish an event informing everyone that, hey, I am changing that path. This is just an orchestration under the hook so that everything is going to work fine. This is enough for this video. Thank you for watching. See you in the next video where we will cover in deep the UI bind. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and see you in the next video. Thank you.